he hadn't been able to make out the city's details, only catching a general glimpse, let alone seeing the people within its massive walls. But upon landing, the horrifying reality of the scene before him became starkly apparent. This was a bustling marketplace, teeming with people. Stalls lined the streets, while mischievous children laughed and played, running past only to be sharply reprimanded when they bumped into passers-by. Others sipped tea at roadside stalls. Though he couldn't understand their language, their expressions conveyed pleasant conversation. Everything seemed so harmonious, if one ignored their size. Zhang Yi gazed at this scene, forced to crane his neck upward to look at them. Every single person here stood at a staggering height of over 10 meters. Standing before them, Zhang Yi could barely reach their knees even if he jumped. If these were humans, he felt like a tiny mouse. A city of giants, and these were genuine giants. They weren't humans, nor were they the enlarged beings of the Demon Kingdom. Their appearance made that abundantly clear. Their bodies were covered in fine scales, long tails trailed behind them, and their heads bore protruding horns like thorns. At the very center of their foreheads, a single eye glared horizontally. Only now did Zhang Yi understand why the demon clan of the Demon Kingdom tattooed eyes on their foreheads. Instantly, a primal fear gripped Zhang Yi, an urge to flee surged within him. This sensation was the terror a human feels upon entering the realm of demons. He wasn't alone. Every human within Nguyen's shadow turned deathly pale. The soldiers, especially, who had come here to fight such beings, sank into profound despair. This is a demon? Is this the demon worshipped by the demon clan who ravaged the snowy region 1,000 years ago? Heavens! Heavens! Buddha! Against such a race, what can we possibly use to fight them? Here, any one of them could crush a human underfoot with a single step, even a well-trained soldier. As Zhang Yi stood frozen in shock, a sudden shout rang out beside him. Guin Balu Monasan. Lien Barrett. The gibberish language was incomprehensible to Zhang Yi, yet the coarse voice still drew his gaze. One glance was enough to make his pupils instantly contract. It was a butcher shop. A slaughterer, obese as a mountain of flesh, brandished a knife while loudly hawking his wares. Before the stall, naked human corpses hung from metal hooks. Each had been disemboweled, their entrails and blood meticulously removed. Iron hooks pierced their necks, suspending them from the butcher's rack. Above the blood-drenched display, meticulously portioned cuts lay neatly arranged. Hollow-eyed severed heads, white as flowers, and ribcage skeletons adorned with meat were all meticulously displayed, awaiting the passers-by's selection. Within the shadow space, even those who had witnessed countless bloody scenes now turned pale, their skin crawling with horror. They weren't afraid of the dead, they had seen the sky burial ceremony of the Tantra sect. But this was the first time they had ever seen humans slaughtered like pigs, dogs, cattle, or sheep by otherworldly beings, then displayed for sale on stalls. Hell! This must be hell. Some began praying to gods and Buddhas, bodies trembling violently, regretting ever joining this expedition. Even Yang Xinxin, usually the most intelligent and composed, stood utterly silent. The scene before her transcended her comprehension. After all, this was the first time in their lives they had truly encountered a society of advanced beings beyond humanity. And a society of beings that consumed humans as food. They weren't savage or terrifying, they appeared much like humans, living civilized lives with their own social order. Yet precisely because of this, a deep-seated dread welled up within them. For the impression they gave was that humans were merely livestock they raised. Zhang Yi and his companions arrived at the giant city beneath the abyss of demons, where they encountered the enormous three-eyed clan giants, creatures resembling lizards in appearance. What terrified him most was discovering that humans still existed in this subterranean realm, existing solely as food for the three-eyed clan. People bustled along the roadside, creating an illusion of peaceful coexistence. Zhang Yi remained silent. He was now in a foreign land, unable to contact the Undertaker or the others. He felt utterly lost, like a headless fly, especially surrounded by these man-eating three-eyed clan giants. This environment was undeniably fraught with danger for them. However, this wasn't Zhang Yi's greatest concern. Despite their massive size, these giants were merely ordinary humans to him, incapable of threatening his life. His true worry lay in whether the Three-Eyed Clan's realm harbored beings as powerful as the Hades Gatekeeper or the White Dragon. Just as Zhang Yi pondered his next move, a vast shadow suddenly engulfed him. Lifting his head, he saw two young members of the Three-Eyed Clan looking down at him with mocking expressions. "Look what I found! A hairless rat in weird clothes. Ha ha, this is hilarious. What an amusing creature. Grab him." One of the Three-Eyed Clan immediately lunged toward Zhang Yi. Not wanting to cause a scene, Zhang Yi's eyes flashed with determination. Glancing around, he sprinted toward an alleyway several hundred meters down the street. Though called an alley, to his eyes it felt as vast as a canyon. Seeing this peculiar hairless rodent attempting to escape only fueled the two youths' interest. "Don't run. Ha ha. Once we catch you, we'll torture you to death slowly before eating you. Wild hairless rodents must be nutritious. Maybe we can even sell it for a good price." Zhang Yi couldn't understand their language at all, and his intelligent system contained no data to translate it. For clarity, many terms were explained using human expressions, though their meanings might not be identical. Zhang Yi moved with astonishing speed, luring the two youths deep into the secluded alleyway. The two chased him down, flanking him left and right. Cruel grins spread across their youthful faces as dozens of methods to brutally slaughter this bizarre hairless rodent danced through their minds. Zhang Yi also wanted to test the combat prowess of these Three-Eyed Clan members. After confirming no one else was nearby, Zhang Yi summoned the horizontal blade Holy Judgment to his left hand with a flick. Witnessing this, the two members of the Three-Eyed Clan froze. "Did you see that? How did he get a weapon? It looks like a toothpick, but a hairless rat wielding a weapon?" They exchanged stunned glances, their grins growing wider with delight and cruelty. "This is fantastic. Ha ha ha. This is a rare specimen. I'll raise him, maybe we can put on shows for money." A sly gleam flashed in one youth's eyes. He bent down first, his large hand reaching out to grab Zhang Yi's head. Swish! A flash of black light. The youth suddenly felt his hand grow light, a chill creeping up his wrist. Stunned, he stared at the hairless rat on the ground in his own arm. Visibly, his hand had been severed from his wrist and was falling to the floor. The next moment, excruciating pain shot through him. Ah! He clutched his wrist in agony, wailing in pain. Not much stronger than I imagined. Just a massive body, huh? But even with that alone, it might be able to fight against an enhancement-type mutant with an ability index around 3,000 points. Zhang Yi assessed. Physical size has always been one of the greatest advantages in the animal kingdom. Most of the time, the larger the body, the stronger the combat power. However, these common Three-Eyed Clan members weren't as terrifying as imagined. Zhang Yi could still handle them with ease. A cold gleam flashed in his eyes. In a blink, he teleported to the severed arm Three-Eyed Clan youth. Gripping the Holy Judgment sword with both hands, he drew a single, swift stroke. Swish! Swish! Zhang Yi quickly eliminated the two Three-Eyed Clan youths. Boom! Their bodies crashed to the ground and lay lifelessly on the ground. The thunderous impact made Zhang Yi worry someone might hear it. We need to lie low for now. We know nothing about this place and can't act rashly. Otherwise, we might alert the powerful guardians here. Zhang Yi relayed this message to everyone over the communication channel. After Zhang Yi finished the killings, he planned to leave immediately and find a place to hide. After all, once the Undertaker and his group arrived in the Three-Eyed Clan's territory, it would surely take action. Moreover, unlike Zhang Yi, they didn't possess space abilities to transport large numbers of people. Their large group was bound to be detected by the Three-Eyed Clan. Let them probe the clan's strength first, Zhang Yi would act according to the situation later. Now, the superiority of a space ability mutant was fully evident. He carried ample supplies and didn't need to worry about food or drink. Finding a place to rest was even simpler. In the land of giants, any mouse hole could serve as shelter. Even if they tried to search, finding Zhang Yi would be nearly impossible. Just as Zhang Yi turned to leave, he suddenly sensed a burning gaze fixed upon him. Zhang Yi's brow furrowed. He flipped his holy judgment sword in his hand, its blade glinting with a sinister cold light. "Who's there?" He looked toward the source of the gaze. A small head emerged from behind a pile of rubbish. It belonged to a girl of only 14 or 15, wrapped in a tattered brown cloth. Her hair was disheveled, and her features were somewhat peculiar. From Zhang Yi's perspective, her appearance was undeniably peculiar. Her features were all disproportionately small, tiny eyes, a diminutive nose, yet her mouth was large and wide. Zhang Yi considered that if these people were descendants of slaves sacrificed by the ancient demon kingdom, it made sense they'd mutated to adapt to life underground over millennia. His first impulse at the time was to kill her. After all, she had witnessed him murdering those two youths from the Three-Eyed Clan. Yet he quickly dismissed the thought. Here, humans were merely livestock, edible species. There was no reason for this girl to report him to the Three-Eyed Clan, and even if she did, they might not listen to her. Most crucially, he could leave immediately, the Three-Eyed Clan couldn't possibly catch him. So Zhang Yi intended to ignore her and walk straight away. But just then, the girl glanced at him, then at the corpses of the Three-Eyed Clan youths on the ground. Her eyes brimmed with admiration. She emerged from behind the trash heap and chirped a few sentences at Zhang Yi. The intelligent system translated her words. "She says you're incredibly brave to kill a Three-Eyed Clan member." Zhang Yi initially ignored her, but suddenly something stirred within him. He had just arrived here and needed to gather information about the local situation. While he couldn't communicate with the Three-Eyed Clan, he could understand the language of the local humans. He turned to the girl, about to speak, when a sudden shout erupted behind him, mingled with the panicked clamor of the crowd. Immediately, Zhang Yi recognized the familiar crack of gunfire. His communication device picked up the voices of other human soldiers. "Anyone nearby? Come support us. We're being chased by these three-eyed bastards." Zhang Yi instantly grasped what was happening. Another team of mutants must have clashed with the locals. Imagine discovering a street filled with heavily armed feral cats one day, wouldn't you panic too? Authorities would surely mobilize to hunt them down. There was a high probability they'd witnessed the horrors humans suffered here and were shocked that the feral cats had attacked people. Then came the hunt. Zhang Yi frowned, sensing trouble. He couldn't help these people now, as he didn't want to alert the powerful members of the Three-Eyed Clan. He never acted rashly before understanding his opponent's strength. Just then, the little girl approached, reaching out to grab Zhang Yi's arm. Swish! Zhang Yi swiftly backed up several steps, preventing her from getting close. The girl froze for a moment before realizing something. She immediately gestured wildly at Zhang Yi, saying, "The Three-Eyed Clan is hunting humans. I'll hide you." Observing the gear on Zhang Yi, she seemed to grasp that these humans differed from her own kind. Zhang Yi, too, felt a surge of curiosity. How did humans survive in the city of giants? Were they, as livestock, truly meant to live like rats in the sewers, forever hiding? He nodded, then followed the little girl as they dashed forward. Amidst the giant's city, they truly were as small as mice. The little girl led him through dark alleys, over several foul-smelling ditches, and finally into a large hole in a wall. To Zhang Yi, it seemed huge, but proportionally, it was a rat hole. Zhang Yi wasn't used to the light inside, so he told the intelligent system, "Switch to night vision mode." Received. Adapting to surroundings, adjusting light levels. Soon, Zhang Yi's vision cleared, revealing everything around him in sharp detail. This place resembled a cave, likely carved beneath some structure. The girl led him forward through a network of branching passages, clearly not the only route. Her caution was evident. Soon, Zhang Yi followed her to the end of the cavern. This was a small, open chamber resembling a room. A pile of licorice lay in the corner, while a large, thoroughly cleaned piece of tree bark nearby held some food. The smell wasn't pleasant. The food consisted of black tree berries, some vegetables, and meat, likely scavenged from a garbage heap. The girl gazed at Zhang Yi, her eyes brimming with admiration. She eagerly gestured for him to sit down. Zhang Yi nodded and settled onto a stone. "You're so amazing, killing that three-eyed clan giant. Are you a messenger sent by the heavens?" Her eyes sparkled as she stared at him. Zhang Yi glanced up at the ceiling, smiled, and nodded. "I suppose so." From this vantage point, he truly did appear to have come from the heavens. Her eyes widened as she bounced up and down with delight. "I knew it! The legends of the human god religion are true. In the heavens, there are human deities. They will come to save us someday." She knelt on the ground and respectfully bowed her head to Zhang Yi. "Divine consciousness, please take me away from here." Zhang Yi said, "I've just arrived and don't yet understand this world. First, tell me what's going on here." The girl, now convinced Zhang Yi was a human deity, eagerly shared everything she knew. The girl said her name was Rose, a wild human who had escaped from a pen. Humans here were divided into two types, domesticated and wild. Domesticated humans were either raised for food or kept as pets. Others, discovered by the three-eyed clan to possess tool-making abilities, were put to work crafting small artifacts. As for the wild ones, like Rose, they could only survive in dark corners. Their lives were worth less than grass. They scavenged food from garbage heaps, constantly facing the risk of being trampled to death by the three-eyed tribe. Through his conversation with Rose, Zhang Yi learned intelligence about this nation. This nation was called Nash, ruled by the three-eyed clan. Humans were livestock and pets, possessing no rights whatsoever and subject to arbitrary killing. As for other information, Rose knew very little. She was merely a lowly creature in this world, having never left this street in her entire life, and knew nothing of the world beyond. The legend of the human god religion, however, was passed down among every human being. It is said our ancestors came from the heavens. And that one day, sooner or later, a human god will come here to save us. Rose's eyes welled with tears, overcome with emotion at seeing Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi pondered for a moment before asking, "Are the people here powerful?" I mean, are there any deities from the three-eyed clan? You know, the ones with immense strength, capable of soaring through the skies, traversing the earth, or possessing such force they could single-handedly topple a building?" Rose blinked her large eyes. "You mean warriors, right?" Zhang Yi chuckled. "Warriors? That exaggerated?" The intelligence system prompted Zhang Yi, "I'm translating based on context for your understanding. She might actually be referring to something else." Zhang Yi folded his arms, a playful look on his face. "Tell me about it. What exactly are these warriors?" Rose explained, "Among the three-eyed clan, some are born with the ability to cultivate immense power through training, becoming formidable martial warriors. These warriors possess such overwhelming strength they can cleave mountains and split rocks. Legends even speak of ancient warriors capable of halting river currents, moving mountains, and filling seas." Zhang Yi keenly grasped the crux of Rose's words. "So you're saying they existed once, but no longer do?" There was little doubt about it, these so-called warriors were essentially the same as the mutants. The gifted ones were the mutants. Only here, it seemed, there was a complete system for cultivating them. They called it cultivation. Though to be honest, it was probably similar to the scientific training in the human world, just following a different path. Rose blinked her wide, round eyes and shook her head blankly. "I don't know. They probably didn't exist in the past. But..." She lowered her head in thought, then suddenly said, "In the last 2 years, it seems like more warriors have appeared. And I overheard the three-eyed clan whispering that among the nobility, there are even individuals who might reach the level of ancient masters. The last 2 years." Zhang Yi's heart skipped a beat. That was precisely when the apocalypse had just begun. He had once believed the underground world played a significant role in the emergence of the apocalypse and supernatural abilities. But now it seemed the underground world hadn't orchestrated all this. Rather, the arrival of the apocalypse had triggered massive transformations within the underground world itself. And through this, they had gained immense power. However, they seemed far better prepared for it, as if history had provided them with similar experiences. Take Nash Kingdom, for instance. They interpreted supernatural abilities as the innate talents of martial artists. This reminded Zhang Yi of the Qigong craze that swept Huashu Kingdom in the last century, and the Human Science Research Institute founded by a certain great scientist. For years, humanity's research into supernatural abilities never ceased, and mutants had always existed. It was merely the arrival of the apocalypse that caused mutants to explode in numbers, finally entering everyone's field of vision. Zhang Yi felt this journey was absolutely worthwhile. He had learned more, which would help him understand the truth about the world and the apocalypse. Then, Zhang Yi turned his thoughts to the most crucial purpose of this journey, the source of God or the spirit of sacrifice. He had obtained a portion of the source of God in the Demon Kingdom. If even the Demon Kingdom, a vassal state of Nash, was qualified to possess the source of God, then what about this demon abyss? After pondering for a moment, he inquired, "Rose, do you know if there's anything resembling an altar around here? Something roughly shaped like this, requiring someone to be sacrificed." He gestured the shape of a pyramid. For he had seen similar structures both in the Qinling Mountains and the Demon Kingdom. It seemed to be a device for collecting either the source of God or the spirit of sacrifice. Upon hearing this, Rose immediately replied, "You mean the Divine Spirit Temple? Isn't that thing something you can see as soon as you step outside?" Zhang Yi froze. Visible from the outside? Rose led Zhang Yi cautiously out of the cave. Once outside, she pointed skyward. "See? Isn't that it?" Zhang Yi lifted his head to gaze upward. The Nash Kingdom was built upon the sheer cliffs of the abyss, layer upon layer stretching upward, its ultimate height unknown. To facilitate travel, the people of Nash constructed countless narrow stone bridges across the immense cliffs. These bridges crisscrossed like a dense spiderweb. At the very pinnacle of the Nash Kingdom, a colossal black tower stood, looming like a mountain. It was so immense it pierced the clouds, towering even higher than Zhang Yi's initial flight altitude. Precisely because of this, Zhang Yi had completely overlooked its existence. Beneath the dome hung dense clouds, not white, but tinged with a faint red. The tower's shape resembled the 9-story Demon Tower, though it possessed more levels and appeared deeply weathered by time. "Looks like that's the place," Zhang Yi remarked, narrowing his eyes. Hadn't this journey been undertaken precisely for that? Only this time, the mission's difficulty was entirely unknown. This marked their first venture deep into the subterranean world. Previously, in Qinling Mountain and the Star Island Mist Valley, they had only scratched the surface of the underground tribes. Rose addressed Zhang Yi, "That is the Divine Spirit Temple. The King of Nash Kingdom resides within." King? Zhang Yi recalled this realm still operated under a dynastic system. Because warriors existed, everyone trained relentlessly. Only the strong could attain exalted status here. Precisely because of this, technology remained unchanged from thousands of years ago, showing no progress whatsoever. Even when clever individuals proposed useful ideas, they were dismissed as frivolous tricks and refused to be adopted. Let's leave it at that. We'll wait and see. I believe the Sangha Temple won't remain completely silent. Zhang Yi showed no urgency, beckoning Rose back into the cave. The living conditions here were abysmal, so Zhang Yi simply retrieved a comfortable foam mattress from his dimensional space and brought out a large pile of food for Rose. Seeing Zhang Yi conjure so many things out of thin air, Rose knelt in astonishment, repeatedly calling him Divine Messenger. Zhang Yi offered a few reassuring words before departing. He intended to consult Yang Xinxin and the others to hear their perspectives. Rose sat cautiously on the foam mattress. The unexpected softness beneath her startled her, but soon she curled her small body onto it with delight. Zhang Yi ascended above the colossal city, finding a vantage point to survey the immense metropolis spread before him. While communicating with Yang Xinxin and the others, he observed this world, simultaneously awaiting the movements of the other teams. Once the Undertaker and his group initiated their actions, they would inevitably create a tremendous commotion, making them easy to detect. Sure enough, upon looking this time, he immediately spotted the telltale signs. The city was too vast, its initial awe left him no time to notice anything else, so he immediately went into hiding. Now, calming his mind to observe, he saw that every street within the city was filled with three-eyed clan soldiers in armor, patrolling with weapons drawn. This phenomenon clearly indicated something was happening. Sure enough, Zhang Yi soon received a distress signal from human soldiers over 10 kilometers away. Whoosh! He instantly performed a space shuffle to the scene. Here, on a street, dozens of soldiers clad in purple combat uniforms appeared to have lost contact with their main force. They were exploring the city, searching for news of their comrades. They arrived on the street and soon witnessed the three-eyed clan feeding on humans. Initially, they were furious but refrained from alerting the creatures. However, their sheer numbers, moving in groups through an unfamiliar city, quickly drew the attention of passers-by. The massive three-eyed clansmen gradually surrounded them, staring at them as if they were rare objects, occasionally exchanging whispers and remarks. Huh! Why are there so many strange hairless rats? Are they someone's pets? And they're wearing clothes. Those outfits are bizarre, they look like soldiers. Ha! Rich folks are so bored, spending money to dress up their pets. Their owner must be nearby, right? This little thing is kinda cute. Let me take a look. A woman grinned, reaching out to grab one of the warriors. All the warriors instantly paled. Unable to communicate, they feared the three-eyed clan was preparing to attack. Damn it! What do these creatures think they're doing? Damned creatures, kill them! The soldiers thought they were under attack, but they had no choice. If captured, the best outcome would be becoming pets, locked away in cages. Furious, the soldiers immediately aimed their guns at the three-eyed clan members before them. Flames erupted from the barrels as bullets rained down on the three-eyed clan. Ah! The man let out a pained scream. For some reason, he felt as if someone had stabbed him all over with his body, every part throbbing with agony. Bullets tore into his flesh, quickly riddling his body with bullet holes. Yet these bullets couldn't inflict fatal damage on the massive frames of the three-eyed clan. The pain, however, was very real. The soldiers treated every three-eyed clan member nearby as an enemy attacking them, unleashing indiscriminate fire all around. A wave of agonized screams erupted from the crowd as they fled in agony. Chief, our guns don't seem to work on them. A soldier shouted in terror. Naturally. Born to support their massive frames, the three-eyed clan possessed formidable physiques. Their flesh, skin, bones, and internal organs could withstand immense pressure. Ordinary firearms were utterly incapable of killing them. Change ammo! The captain bellowed in a deep voice. Soon, all soldiers switched to more powerful bullets, and finally, results appeared. These small high-explosive bullets rivaled the impact of hand grenades. Pop! A member of the three-eyed clan's knee was shot clean through, snapping in two instantly. It's working. Keep firing. These are demons, killing one is a monumental achievement. The captain shouted, rallying his men. Zhang Yi glanced over and silently shook his head. These men were far too weak. Even the strongest captain seemed to have only around 6,000 points of ability index. The squad even included ordinary human soldiers. Instead of hiding and waiting for reinforcements, they'd waltzed right out onto the streets, clearly courting death. Sure enough, the commotion quickly drew a group of armored three-eyed clan soldiers. A dozen or so three-eyed clan members, armed with swords and spears, saw the small band of warriors and grinned like cats spotting mice. Haha, a few more little rats here. Don't rush to kill them, let's play with them. Save two for me to keep as pets later. Hairless rats that can use bows? How amusing. Oh, my daughter wants one too. The soldiers of the three-eyed clan encircled them unhurriedly, letting bullets ricochet off their armor while grinning savagely. Only then did the human soldiers' expressions change. With even their guns useless, how could they possibly fight these monsters? Seeing this, the captain bellowed, "Don't be afraid. They're just a bit bigger, nothing to fear." He drew 2 high-explosive grenades from his waist and hurled them toward a three-eyed clan soldier ahead. The three-eyed clan soldier looked puzzled, unsure why the small, hairless rodent would throw such projectiles at him. He didn't even bother to block, charging forward with his belly thrust out. Boom! The violent explosion echoed, and the human soldiers, full of expectation, looked ahead. Such grenades possessed immense power, capable of damaging even battle tanks. But their expressions quickly changed. Because they heard the furious curses of the three-eyed clan soldier. Emerging from the smoke and dust, the three-eyed clan soldier emerged. He looked somewhat disheveled, but showed no signs of serious injury. Only his blood-red eyes signaled his fury. Damned rats! Die! He raised his iron rod and swung it viciously toward the human soldier's formation. Boom! The stone slate pavement shattered instantly. Though the human soldiers dodged swiftly, flying debris still struck many of their bodies. The immense force hurled them backward. Even through their combat suits, the impact inflicted severe injuries, causing them to cough up blood. Truly incomprehensible. Such lowly creatures dare to resist us humans. Ridiculous. A soldier from the three-eyed clan, wielding long tongs in one hand and a burlap sack in the other, picked up the gravely wounded soldiers as if collecting trash, tossing them into the sack. Some of the elite soldiers of humanity, every one a seasoned warrior, including over half who were mutants, such a force looked utterly helpless against Nash Kingdom's ordinary soldiers, like a pack of rats. Faced with absolute power, their guns proved useless, and their men were even less effective than their weapons. Imagine these three-eyed clan members, possessing strength capable of battling small to medium-sized dinosaurs. And among them, the mutants known as warriors could single-handedly take down a Tyrannosaurus Rex, no exaggeration. Soon, the entire force was scattered and decimated. No, it wasn't even a defeat. The enemy never treated this battle as a serious engagement from the start. It was merely pest control. Human combatants lay crushed everywhere, tossed into burlap sacks like discarded trash, simply because these wild, hairless rodents might carry pathogens capable of spreading disease. From his vantage point above, Zhang Yi observed the scene. He paused briefly, then drew the thunderstrike, aiming at the soldiers' unprotected vital points. Whilst their attention remained entirely fixed on the dead soldiers, Zhang Yi fired one shot after another in stealth. He struck their brow centers, temples, and the major arteries in their necks. Before they could comprehend what had happened, all the soldiers collapsed lifeless to the ground. The moment his task was complete, Zhang Yi vanished from his position. Killing these three-eyed clan soldiers was merely a whim. For the entire Nash Kingdom, countless such soldiers remained. Now, he had to leave this place. He needed to avoid any commotion in the vicinity that might expose him. Over the next few days, Zhang Yi refrained from action, quietly observing the transformations within Nash Kingdom. This was an immense nation, not flat but layered in 3 dimensions. Level upon level extended from top to bottom. Zhang Yi had arrived in the kingdom's upper echelons. The lower one descended, the more degraded the social status became. Initially, he lamented, exclaiming how harshly humans lived here. But then, from Rose, he learned that in the lower regions, many humans were even kept like pigs in pens, fed the worst scraps, sometimes even their own waste. Meanwhile, in the upper echelons of society, some humans with pleasing appearances could be chosen and kept as pets. Though they had no freedom, at least they were clothed and fed without worry. During their initial meeting, Rose had intended to introduce Zhang Yi to some of her human friends, but he shook his head in refusal. Zhang Yi told her never to reveal his existence to anyone, or he would leave and never return. Rose believed Zhang Yi was a divine being descended from heaven and dared not defy his wishes. Zhang Yi waited. The arrival of the Undertaker, Gao Changkong, and the Knights of the Round Table would inevitably clash with local factions. He needed to gauge the strength of this world. The rest of the time spent, he watched the vast divine spirit temple reaching the sky, supported by stone bridges. The palace where the king resided surely held this kingdom's most precious treasures. Just as Zhang Yi had imagined, the appearance of the Undertaker and his group indeed sparked chaos. The Sangha Temple faction proved the most impulsive. After all, their mission was the complete annihilation of the Abyss. Confronted by this hellish landscape, they were the first to engage Nash in fierce combat. This explained why Zhang Yi had spotted numerous soldiers patrolling the streets upon his arrival. On multiple occasions, he even sensed the presence of Epsilon-tier combat power. For the time being, Zhang Yi remained residing within the cave with Rose, secretly observing the movements of Nash Kingdom. He had surreptitiously explored the area, gaining a basic understanding of the surroundings. Except for the Divine Spirit Temple at the Zenith, which he hadn't visited, he had already explored all the other places worth seeing. The population of Nash Kingdom wasn't particularly large, numbering at most several 100,000. Due to their massive size, securing sufficient meat proved challenging. Consequently, they primarily subsisted on subterranean giant creatures, with human flesh also being an indispensable part of their diet. Ordinary members of the Three-Eyed Clan rarely ate meat, and were only able to consume a type of fruit that grew on local trees. For a few consecutive days, Zhang Yi had no clear plan for his next move. This appeared to be a stable nation, boasting a formidable military and high-level mutant. They found it difficult to identify an opportunity to approach the Divine Spirit Temple. After the Undertaker and his group arrived, they repeatedly clashed with the local military. The entire Nash Kingdom's forces had mobilized, and every day one could see those fierce-looking, giant Three-Eyed Clan soldiers patrolling the streets and alleys. Have they made too much noise? Zhang Yi frowned, puzzled. By all logic, the chaos caused by human soldiers shouldn't have triggered such heightened alertness across Nash. After all, most soldiers were seen as mere lowly insects in their eyes. A single well-trained soldier of the Three-Eyed Clan could easily slaughter hundreds of ordinary human warriors, including low-level mutants. At that moment, Rose delivered crucial intelligence to Zhang Yi. It seems His Royal Highness, the Prince of Nash Kingdom, is about to marry. That's why they're placing such importance on the divine messenger of the human god religion. They fear you might disrupt the wedding. Zhang Yi chuckled. Oh? What a coincidence. Rose explained, Three-Eyed Clan members can live up to 300 years, but nearly everyone has only one wedding in their lifetime. Furthermore, it's said the prince will inherit the old king's throne after marrying, which is why this wedding is being treated with such immense national importance. And the bride's status is no small matter either. She's the only daughter of Grand Duke Geru, Miss Janajuo. He slowly narrowed his eyes. The prince's wedding? He keenly sensed this presented an exceptional opportunity. What do you think he wants to do? No, he was safe now and wouldn't risk it lightly. But with such a golden opportunity, the Undertaker and his men wouldn't pass it up. Then, perhaps, there would be a good show to watch. He looked up at the Divine Spirit Temple on the dome of the ceiling, a quiet anticipation stirring within him.